For any business that sells a physical product, there's this constant high-stakes balancing act happening behind the scenes. We're calling it the inventory Goldilocks problem. You can't have too much, you can't have too little, you've got to get it just right. And we're going to dive into this because, well, getting it wrong can be unbelievably costly.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Is your inventory secretly draining your bank account? It's a serious question because whether you're looking at empty shelves or a warehouse that's packed to the rafters, that inventory level, it's hitting your bottom line right now as we speak. And this lays out the two sides of the coin perfectly. On one hand, you've got understocking. We've all seen it. Empty shelves, which means lost sales, and of course, unhappy customers who can't get what they came for. But then you have the other extreme, overstocking. Warehouses full of dusty boxes, cash that's tied up in products nobody seems to want, and the huge risk that all that stuff becomes worthless. Both of these are absolute profit killers.
Okay, let's talk about the pain of empty shelves first. This is the one we all notice, right? And you know what the most frustrating part is? The items you run out of are almost always your biggest sellers, the very things people are actually trying to give you money for. This quote just hits the nail on the head. An empty shelf isn't just some minor inconvenience. It is, very simply, a sale not made, and consequently, profit forgone. That's not a feeling. That's a direct, measurable loss of cash.
So let's crunch some numbers and see how fast this gets out of hand. Let's imagine you make a $10 profit on an item. Okay, now say 5 of your products are out of stock. For each of those, you're missing out on about 100 sales every single week. And this goes on for 15 weeks, maybe right during your busiest season. On their own, these numbers don't sound that terrifying, do they?
Well, when you actually put them all together, what do you think the damage is for the year? Any guesses?
Yeah, a whopping $75,000 in missed profit. That is how quickly a few seemingly small stockouts can spiral into a massive financial hit. The takeaway here is huge. Even tiny gaps in your inventory can lead to some major losses.
But hold on, because it actually gets worse. You don't just miss out on that one immediate sale. You risk literally sending that customer right into the arms of a competitor who does have the item. And hey, if they have a good experience over there, you might have just lost that person's business forever. The real cost isn't just $10. It could be thousands of dollars over that customer's lifetime.
All right, let's flip this around and look at the other side of the problem, the danger of warehouses that are just too full. This one's a little sneakier, you know? It's not as obvious as an empty shelf, but trust me, it can be every bit as deadly to your business.
Having too much inventory is like a slow, constant drain on your resources. First off, all your cash is tied up in stuff that isn't selling. If you took out a loan to buy that stock, guess what? You're paying interest on it. Then you've got storage costs, the risk of products expiring or just going out of style, and this is a big one, all that slow-moving junk is taking up precious space that you could be using for your actual best sellers.
Let's run the numbers on this too. Picture this. You've got 2,000 items that are moving at a snail's pace. You paid $50 for each one. That means you have $100,000 of your own cash just locked up, sitting there. And to top it off, you're paying a 5% annual interest rate on the money you use to buy it all.
The cost is just staggering. After only 100 days, that pile of overstock has cost you your initial $100,000 investment plus another $1,370 in interest. That's money that is actively working against you, losing value every single day it sits on a shelf.
So if too little is a disaster and too much is a disaster, how in the world do we find that just right sweet spot? Well, the solution is really a fundamental shift in how you think. It's time to stop guessing what your customers want and to start reacting to what they actually do.
And this is it, the pull inventory model. The idea is so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Instead of just pushing products out there based on a forecast, you let customer demand pull the products through your system. When a customer buys something, you replace it. That's it. It's a system that's based on reality, not guesswork.
And this shows you the core difference perfectly. The old push model is basically a best guess, which, as we've seen, always leads to having too little of what people want and too much of what they don't. The pull model, on the other hand, is all about listening. It uses real-time sales data so you can track what people are actually buying and stay in that magical, just right zone.
Now, adopting a new model is fantastic, but you need a way to measure if it's working and to spot problems before they get out of hand. You basically need a health checkup for your inventory. So let's look at 2 super simple metrics that will help you do exactly that.
Okay,
First up is something called Inventory Dollar Days, or IDD for short. This metric basically tells you the financial weight of your inventory over time. You just multiply how much the inventory cost you by the number of days it's been sitting there. It's a really powerful way to see, in plain dollars, how much money is collecting dust on your shelves.
And when you track it over time, like in this chart, it becomes an amazing early warning system. If you see that IDD number creeping up month after month, that is a crystal clear sign that your stock is sitting around for way too long. It's like a fever chart for your business, telling you it's time to act before things get really bad.
All right, our second key metric is the inventory turnover ratio. This one is all about speed. It measures how many times a year you sell through and replace your entire inventory. And with this one, a higher number is definitely better, because it means your stuff is flying off the shelves and you have less cash stuck in things that aren't moving.
And look, the math here is super straightforward. You just take your total sales and divide it by the average value of your inventory. So in this example, $1 million in sales divided by $200,000 in inventory gives you a turnover ratio of 5. That means this company sold and replaced everything it had in stock 5 times over the course of the year. Simple, right?
So here's the best part. You can start doing this like today. Here's a simple 2-step checkup for you. Step 1, identify your losses. Go talk to your staff, check the records for products that are always out of stock, and then take a walk through your warehouse and look for the dust. Step 2, estimate the cost. Use the simple math we just walked through to figure out what you're losing. I promise, you might be really shocked by what you find.
Which brings us to our final thought here. Your inventory isn't just a line item on a spreadsheet. It's a reservoir of potential. By finally solving this Goldilocks problem and finding that just right balance, you're not just cutting your losses. You're actually unlocking profits that were already there, just hidden. So the real question is, what hidden profits are waiting on your shelves?